How you going? It's James here, the Upgrade Me mentor. Today I want to talk a little bit about trust, and I'm sharing every week on issues that we have to deal with if we want to make our mind a beautiful place. And this week I think trust is one of the big ones that have come up, and I've had a few people just ask me, can you do one on trust? Because a lot of us have had our hearts broken by trust, and we've broken people's hearts with trust. I know I've done both. And I want to really share that today on Upgrade Me, so I really hope you join me. So how do you trust, or how do you build trust again after it's been broken? Trust is such a crucial element for building real true relationship. Without trust, relationship's really difficult, almost impossible really without trust. So what do you do when the trust's been broken, or how do you know that this next person who's come into your life that you may be developing a relationship, or this next friendship with, or business relationship with, or any kind of relationship, how do you know that this person is trustworthy? Well, I want to talk about, first of all, I want to talk about two different types of trust that I've seen people do. One is naive trust, and this is a person who just trusts everybody. They're just sharing everything with everybody, and they end up ripped off and broken-hearted, and that kind of trust just doesn't work. That's a naive trust. The other kind of trust that's just as bad is that we don't trust anybody, I've been hurt, I'm never going to trust again, I'm on my own, I'm an orphan, I'm just going to have to do it all by myself, so stuff the world, I'm going to live in a bunker under my house, or whatever, or in the forest, I'll be a monk. And the problem with that one is that's a naive approach to trust as well. And you just end up alone, and you no way you're going to meet the basic human needs that we all have to be part of a group, to belong, to have relationships. So if you're naive in your trust, you get hurt and destroyed, and the relationship's destroyed. And if you have no trust, the relationship won't go anywhere. It can never really get deep. It's never satisfying enough. So how do you trust? Well, before I get into that, I want to talk about what we're like as children. And that's with children and adolescents. We have this black and white perspective on life. I'm teaching teenagers all the time. I see this. If I'm in a classroom and I somehow get on the right side of a kid, I'm the best teacher ever. But if I make a mistake, maybe I forget their name, which I do all the time, I'm really bad at that, or I just make some mistakes, instantly, oh, you're a bad person. They talk about first impressions count. And I think first impressions are so important, because that's when people choose whether they're going to trust us or not. If someone trusts you, often they'll think you're just a good person, and you gain a lot of, what would you call it? Relationship currency in that one moment, because someone's just naively trusted you and said, well, this is a good person. In movies, they affirm this all the time. We see movies, there's a good guy, there's a bad guy. All through the movie we're trying to figure out, is the good guy going to beat the bad guy, and the bad guy's just bad, and we don't like him, and we don't mind when his life goes horrible and he loses. We don't mind, because he's the bad guy, so we can write him off. The good guy we get invested in. Sometimes, for a twist, they make the good guy bad guy, and I think, stories are more interesting when the good guy has variety to his character, where he's a wounded good guy. He's a human being with good points and bad points. And that's the thing we've got to realise, that humans are not good or bad. They're a mixture of strengths and weaknesses. So the first step to developing wise trust is to understand that no one's all good or all bad. We all have things we can be trusted with and things that we can't be trusted with. For example, I might know somebody who is very good with money, smart with money, and just really trustworthy with money, but they've got an awful temper. So I wouldn't want to necessarily be in a close relationship with that person. I wouldn't want to marry that person, but I'd probably give them my money and they could be my accountant. Do you know what I'm saying? I remember a friend that we had, a family friend, and she was excellent with the kids, and we really trusted her with the kids, no problems. She was just so good with them. She loved kids. So she could do babysitting for us sometimes, but you wouldn't trust her with a secret, because she'd tell everybody, she just couldn't help it. And so the first step to developing good trust is to understand people have strengths and weaknesses. And just because they're untrustworthy in one area doesn't mean they're untrustworthy in every area. So this is the kind of trust I think you need to develop. You need to develop a guarded trust and come at people and look to develop a little bit of a trust profile. What are the strengths of this person and what are the weaknesses? What are the things I can be safe in and I can lean into and trust? And what are the things I need to guard myself and go, hey, this person's no good with that. Me giving them trust in there is just my naivety. And when it goes wrong, I've only got myself to blame. Go into the relationship, a new relationship, and do little advances of trust, but safe advances of trust. You know, come at someone with a small confidentiality. Share something little in your life and see how they respond. Listen to how they talk about other people. If they're telling everybody else's stories the first day you meet them, they're not someone you're going to trust with your stuff with. But they might be really fun to have around. You might have really good jokes with them. They might be fun to go out with and have a bit of a laugh, right? But you're not going to trust them with all your deepest secrets. Just because you can't trust them with your deepest secrets doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means that that's a weak area and you need to build a trust profile. If you see that someone's not good with their money, you know, and they're blowing it and wasting it, you're probably not going to take their financial advice, all right? Also, just because someone's part of your club, for example, if they go to the same church as you, or they're at the same school or same social group as you, doesn't mean that they're trustworthy. Just because they're in the same group doesn't mean they're trustworthy. You've got to do it individually for every person. Find out, what is this person trusted with? What's their strengths? What are they unable to be trusted with? And if you develop this profile, you can still have relationships with people who are still weak in areas and strong in others. What of us don't have weaknesses? We all have weaknesses, and none of us want to be isolated or abandoned because of those weaknesses. What we really want is we want people to approach us and understand our weaknesses and adapt the way that they respond to us in those. If someone's broken your trust but you still want to build a relationship, what you need to do is let them know how they've built it, how they've lost the trust, and then lastly, this is what you need to do to rebuild the trust in our relationship. You need to react in a better way when I share difficult truth with you. If I'm sharing something about myself, you can't go down in a spiral, emotional spiral with me. I need you to be strong for me in that moment. Or if I'm going to trust you with our money in a bank account, you need to get rid of all your credit cards and show that you're changing the way you're dealing with those things. Or, hey, when you shared that confidentiality with someone else, it really broke my trust. If you want to rebuild it, when I share little things with you, I need no one else to know about those things and say, this is what needs to happen to build relationships. We don't want to keep destroying relationships because we're going, oh, they're all bad now. You know, that's naive. That's a childish way of approaching relationships. Part of growing up is realising people have strengths and weaknesses and we need to adapt to those. The people are worth the effort it takes to get to know them and build a trust profile. So I hope that really helps you. If you like this video, would you share it? That would be so cool. Would you like my Facebook page, Upgrade Me Mentor? Look me up on Facebook. Or my Instagram stuff, look at that up as well, Upgrade Me as well. Search me up on Google when you see me. I've also got a website, upgrademe.life. I'd love you to have a look at and share. Catch you later.